Welcome to everyone in our group. It's wonderful to have you with us. You know that Brightstar is in the business of improving life, equipping people with knowledge and skills so that they will experience true joy. We're glad that we have you with us to look for that true joy. And today we are connecting it with really understanding our life purpose. So Paul van Zyl is one of our Brightstar facilitators. He's also specializing in the Legacy Dad product. So that's very special that we have him in that capacity also with Brightstar. And we want to invite you that we'll only be busy for 15 minutes, but at the end you can stay if you have any questions or extra discussions that you would like to share with us. Paul, we're excited. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. Hi, everybody. A week, I think somewhere last week, we had a meeting with a group of Brightstar facilitators, and somebody mentioned, I can't remember who it was. I think it was, yeah, it doesn't matter. That whenever you present to people that are in a lower socio-economic group, and you talk about life purpose, you often get these blank expressions. Because for many people, it's just about survival. And I think Amanda, you said, it's fine. If your life purpose is just to look after your family, then at least you've got a purpose. But that also made me think that in my own experience, many people, even doesn't matter what income bracket they are, or if you ask them, what's your life purpose? Or what do you want to do with your life? You often get this blank expression. Because people are so used to, I do what I do and I do my job and that's it. So yes, so I want to link this. What's your belief system or let's say your worldview regarding life purpose? And last week, I think the theme was self-awareness. And just as self-awareness, I think it's difficult to split the two. It's often linked, your life purpose, the way, or your self-awareness, how you see yourself, and your life purpose. So I just want to share my screen quickly and a few ideas I want to share with you. There we go. So my first question, okay, let me just start my PowerPoint. There we go. In your experience, no, sorry, I'm back here. Let's just start at the beginning. Do you believe your life has a specific purpose that only you can accomplish? Okay, so that's a question you've got to ask. You're going to do some soul searching. Now, this is a very deep question, because for many people, they might say, what is the purpose of life? And people struggle with this for a long time in their life. So some people might say, okay, yes, there's only certain people, like Moses had the burning bush experience, so he knew he had a specific calling on his life. And you might say, okay, maybe some leaders or some people's got a specific purpose, but it all depends on your worldview or your belief system. So option one that I put down there, you might say, I do not have a specific life purpose. And in my opinion, in my experience, I believe many people are here. They say it's all just about, I earn a living and enjoy life as much as I can. And for most people, this is their worldview. And when it comes to life purpose, they don't really think, maybe some special people's got a specific purpose, but for most people, I think they might see themselves falling somewhere in this option one. Option two, I said that you might say, okay, I have a life purpose, but it's not necessary to be specific what my life purpose is. So you might be there where you say, okay, my life purpose is quite vague. So one of our themes in the life program is, as we go through this, I think many people end up here where they can articulate their life purpose, but they're still very vague about it. For instance, you might say, okay, I want to do training, or I want to start a business, or let's say even a coffee shop. But there's thousands, millions of coffee shops. What will make yours different? So it's still very vague. Why are you doing it? What's your reason for doing it? And when you go to option three, I said your belief system regarding, or your worldview regarding your life purpose you might say, I have a specific life purpose and I have a clear vision. And I want to suggest, okay, I want to cancel out option one with this argument that everything about you is different. Your fingerprint, your voice, your hair, your face, everything about you, your body, your personality, the way you think, there's nothing about you that's the same as somebody else. Even if you are twins, you're not the same. So why would God create us different? And we don't have, and we'll have, and you say, well, I haven't got a specific purpose. There must be a reason why you're different. So I want to say, in my opinion, you have to cancel option one. And then I want to encourage you to get to a point where you get very clear on what your purpose is. If you can, but it takes effort. You've got to do some soul searching. You get opinions from other people, pray about it. For many people, it's not easy to get to that point where you have a clear vision. But if that vision or that purpose, life purpose, is not clear, then it's also going to be difficult for you to make that a reality. Now, here's a quote from the late Dr. Miles Monroe, and he said, "The greatest tragedy in life is not death, but a life without purpose." And yes, I just want to stop my screen and just talk to you for a while. My whole journey started 12 years ago when I read a book of Dr. Miles Monroe, Principles and Power of Vision. And one of the things he said is the poorest person in the world is the person without a vision. And then one of his other quotes is the most frustrated person is the person with a vision, but he doesn't know how to bring it to pass. And that's where I want to link your belief system. You might experience that frustration, that you've got a life purpose, you know you can articulate it, but you're frustrated because you don't know how to get there, how to make it a reality. So if I just want to share my screen quickly again. Where's my next slide? It's got stuck here. Okay, there we go. Now we jumped. Okay, so my question is it possible to have clarity about your life purpose and still live an unfulfilled life? Okay, you know you've got a purpose, but you don't know how to get there. So if you look at the yellow circle, you might say that's your purpose. You can articulate it, you know what your purpose is, but the reality is the blue circle. There's a gap between where you find yourself now. And there can be a lot of reasons for that. That gap can be caused by, I haven't got the finances, the job I'm doing now is, the atmosphere doesn't allow me to live out my purpose there. So for instance, your life purpose, you say, I want to start my own business, but I haven't done it before. So you need to get some information. You need to do a few courses. So it's a lot of things that can cause this gap. But somehow, if you want to live out your purpose, you must be able to close that gap. So I call it this purpose gap. So when I want to link it to your belief, if you tell yourself, no, I cannot close this gap. Okay, I cannot do it. That's the blue circle. Then that gap will remain there. Because you might say, okay, I'm too old. There's a lot of your reasons you give for that gap or reality might be your belief system that stops you and not the facts. Okay, you might say, no, I'm too old. I haven't got enough time. I haven't got enough finances. There's not enough. I need people to help me, and I don't get people to help me, or I cannot connect to the right people. So if you tell yourself, no, it's not possible to close that gap, then you're in a frustrated position where you really don't know how your belief system in your mind stops you from getting there. And the last thing I want to suggest that if faith is not important to you, then this slide doesn't apply to you. But my question here is God's purpose for your life. Is it the same as your purpose, your plan? Because if your plan is not in line with God's plan, you might waste a lot of time spending time on getting closer to your purpose, but it's not God's purpose for your life. So, and then you might end here and say, okay, I know this plan is God's purpose for my life, but you can fall back on this one and say, I know this is God's plan for me, but I just don't see how it's going to work out. And you can fall back on this unbelief in your head and say, no, I haven't got enough time. It's too difficult. I don't see myself doing this, even though, it's God's plan. Okay, so that's just a few ideas that I dropped with you guys. And then the question I want us to discuss, and some feedback I'd like to get from you, is in your experience, what percentage of people do you think live with a clear life purpose and experience fulfillment in life? What do you guys say? %, 20%, 10%, 5% in your experience? How many people know their purpose and live a fulfilled life? Amanda, what do you say?
Yeah, it's sad to react because I've been exposed to a lot of groups these last few weeks that I feel not a lot of people really know their purpose. And so I would suggest, it's definitely not 50%. It's far below 50%. And therefore, I
think the largest part of society at the moment is surviving.
Okay.
But you see the difference that the moment people say, now I know what my purpose is, you see something change.
But Delisha, thank you for touching on that. I want to ask you, this survival thing, it's not only applicable to lower income groups. For many people, survival is, you can live in a very fancy house, but it's still just survival.
No, when I say survival, I mean on all levels. And most commonly, I think from where I work, is emotional survival. People are battling just to keep things together. Finances is part of it, but it's also, there's been so much loss and so much bad news. It's just a tough time for people to find positive things to hang on to. And life purpose then sort of gets lost. Even if you know what it is, you'll find yourself 3 weeks later not having done anything about it.
Is there anybody on this group? Do everybody agree that everybody has a life purpose?
I wanted to say that's it's one question to say, does people have a life purpose? It's another thing to say, do they live it? And my experience is that there's a lot of people that haven't even discovered that they have a purpose that's different to others.
Definitely to say that we believe that we all have a purpose. I strongly believe that. I think for the time's sake, I'm going to stop our recording now, and then if we have to leave, you are welcome. But if you want to continue the discussion, that is very interesting. So thank you so much for all of you joining us at our sparkling conversation today. We truly hope that you had an amazing spark for this day.